very high gear to reel ratio. This means you can throw it in there wherever you want to pitch it, twitch it a little, and if you get no bites, reel it in real quick. Then throw it in there, and this allows you to keep your bait in longer, which is my philosophy to catching big bass. Now using these. This tube is just like a jig. You can jig it off the bottom, or in the middle, or anywhere. It can go to any depth and stay there for any amount of time. This is my favorite one. Now my second favorite one is this, because you can go through weeds so easily. It is completely weed proof, unless you rig it wrong, of course. Which some people rig it like this. This is not weed proof. It can still catch the weed. If my finger is a weed, it'll still catch it. You need to put it like this. When the bass bite it, bam. So you can throw this just like a frog, throw it on top of weeds, and what you do, you don't just drag it across the weeds. You get your rod tip high, and this is why I use a spinning rod. You get your rod tip high and bounce it just like a frog. You can use it just like a frog. And for this method, I like to use a bigger tube, and I like to use purple as a color, because when they look up at the sky, and fish are geared to look at the sky. They are made to look up. When they look up the sky, they see this darting across the blue sky. And if you reel it the right way, a lot of times there'll be a strike instinct. And this one is exactly like this one, but it's not weed proof. And these two float. So these are acting as an injured minnow, and they go across the surface, and you jerk it, and you go any which way, and so it's basically dying. It's a dying minnow, and bass just love it. They attack it like crazy, and these are my favorite thing to use. Now the tubes. For tubes, I like to use Kevin Van Dam tubes made by Strike King. And for clear water you want to use dark colors, and for like muddy water you want to use very light colors. Now, depending on what species you're fishing for, like if you're fishing for crappie or smallmouth, a smaller tube like this would probably work best. But if you're fishing for largemouth, a bigger tube like this would probably work best. Now, in these types of situations, you want to have clear weather, clear water, and you can fish it in any situation, but the model textbook situation is clear water, clear skies, sun shining down on the water, and you want to typically use the tubes in spring, in the whole spring, early summer, and midsummer. You don't really want to use them in late summer. They will work, but they will not work as well as the whole spring through midsummer. Now these tips will get you focused in on bass, and they will let you catch more bass.